Today's video is gonna be about putting all your faith into another person, like making them more than they are in your life, idolizing them or putting too much pressure on them, and however that may go. A lot of people do this when they get into new relationships, or they finally get to meet someone that they've been waiting for so long. You know, as a human, I'm right here with you. When being single is terrible, you're lonely, you don't have anyone to talk to, it kind of just feels like you're in a world that no one cares about you and all, and it's super miserable. And then, you know, it sucks, and you spend all this time waiting and waiting to finally meet someone, and finally get to have someone to, you know, go out to eat with, have someone to like text at night or in the morning or whatever else, or spend time with, go on dates with, and you wait so long for that, and then finally, you know, it comes about and it happens, and you meet someone and you're so excited and whatever else, you know. It's a cool thing when that finally happens. But the problem is a lot of people that I've seen in my life, really, you know, all this happens and they finally get to meet this person or whatever else, and then when they do meet them, they put too much on them. You know, humans are humans. You're not gonna replace God per se, you know, with someone else, with a human like your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your friends or your mom or whatever. Maybe it's even an activity or a hobby. Maybe it's riding motorcycles or playing video games or whatever. You try to fill the so-said God-sized hole in your heart, and all your time and all your energy, you start expending it on stuff that don't deserve it, if that makes any sense. And not to say, you know, your girlfriend, boyfriend, you shouldn't be putting a fair amount of time and energy into them, but whatever. But what I am saying is it's that people overdo it. And you know, to give an example, it's how many of you have had a friend that was super close to you, you guys did everything together, they finally get a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they kind of just like forget about you. It's like you don't really exist anymore. It's like you're not there, and it's like you disappeared. It's not really like you're dead, but it's like, we don't really talk to them anymore, we don't ever see them, or they're just always gone. And maybe it's because they only spend time with other people. They quit spending time with their family, or, you know, some people, maybe they have kids and now they leave their kids or whatever, and all they do is go start a new family. You know, maybe that was you had divorced parents and one of your parents left, and they just went and started a new family and just left you in the dust with whatever, and you feel abandoned. That's not right. It's not good. That's not biblical. You know, your people will place their faith, it seems like, in anything but Jesus and God. The only thing that will really truly satisfy you. You know, people, like, I don't know what religion is or how many, but they all say, oh, you reach enlightenment. Well, in a way, it's like, oh yeah, you met God. You finally came to Jesus. You're truly, you know, following God now. And yeah, it feels like enlightenment almost, to a point, because you're not stressed anymore. You're not like, you're not putting people in a position, you know, it's like, I think of like a job position. You're not putting someone that's not qualified for that job in that spot. It's like your girlfriend is not qualified to be your hope in life. Your kids are not qualified to do that. You know, they will fail you. Your girlfriend will fail you. Your husband will fail you. Your wife, whatever. You know, your best friend, your hobby will, one day the flame will dim, or they'll fail you. They'll let you down, and if that's what all your hope is in, you're gonna fail. And it happens to so many people. I mean, I've seen this happen to my own friends. I've even, you know, caught myself doing somewhat of the same thing. You know, I watch myself go into relationships or be around people, and it's like I almost start to lose myself and forget, you know, who I am, what I'm doing, you know, what the important things in my life are really about. And then you gotta keep a check on that, because it's so easy to set the important things aside and forget. It's not even that you forget or you're intentionally doing it. It might just feel like now you're so busy you forget to do them, and you forget to check in on your mom or check in on your dad, or go hang out with your best friend, because now you got this girlfriend that you've been waiting for, and you put all your faith in her, you put all your hope, you try to take her on all these dates and do everything, and it's like, it's to some extent, you have to still be your own human. You know, I'm saying this even as myself. You got to be your own person. You can't just put everything you are into another human. They can't stand that. You know, another person won't be able to withstand that. They won't meet the expectations, no matter whatever it is, an activity, whatever it is. It'll never meet that level that satisfies you the way it needs to. And the only person, oh, there's like a pigeon thing on the side of the road, it scared me. The only person that can do that is God. You know, it's Jesus. It's the living human. You know, he came, lived, died, rose from the grave. He died for your sins. You know, he's a living God. He was a human. You know, he created everything, the stars and the universe. God is so good. You know, the Bible, if you've never read the Bible, open up the Christian Bible and start reading, and it is so interesting. There's so many stories, so many awesome things that you may have never even heard of or thought of or known about. And now if you look into it, suddenly, I mean, you have all these options. You have all this new-fangled fanciness in your life that opens up because now you have the opportunity to hear, know, to learn, whatever. And if you never, you know, truly put much of an effort into it, you're never really going to get anything out of it. I mean, if you say, you know, you're putting God first in your life in all your ways, are you really doing that when you're sleeping with a girlfriend, or you're spending all your time, you know, doing whatever hobby and not reading your Bible or going to church or praying every day? It's like, yeah, I'd be right honest with you. I spend a lot more time riding this motorcycle than I probably do reading my own Bible or whatever. In certain aspects of my life, I spend more time riding this than I have praying today. But that doesn't mean, you know, it's all a balance. It's like an equilibrium that things have to be in. And sometimes when you put too much focus on one thing, it throws everything out of balance. Like your work, your job, your sleep, everything. You know, one little thing in life can start affecting all these others. It's like a domino effect. And to stay in that equilibrium, I mean, you gotta have something at the top. Something's gotta be on top of you, your hope. You know, what is your hope in? In yourself, your job, money, government, a political leader? You know, none of those will ever satisfy you. You're a crazy person if you think that will. I mean, money's great, but what does it profit a man to lose his own soul and to gain the earth, right? What is it? You know, you finally get a girlfriend, you put her at her house. You know, it's better being in a desert place than a nagging woman. With a nagging woman, that's like, maybe your woman is not a good person, but you won't leave her because you're too set on whatever. And you know, then you end up screwing your life up because, you know, you're idolizing a human, and you're putting someone where they shouldn't be, and I don't know, you're not willing to leave a relationship because you're too busy being so addicted to it and putting God second, you know, when the way God tells us to live and all might mean that it's time to end that relationship. Maybe they're not a follower of Christ, you know. Are you equally yoked? Is your relationship glorifying God? There's an awesome bird flying around. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, who are you putting as your God? It's pretty neat. Looks like a dinosaur. And it's like, for me personally, I put people, you know, in that place. I put motorcycles, cars, hobbies, activities, video games, friends, women, anything you want. You know, I've probably done it, and I bet you have too. And it's something to think about that you're not supposed to do that. It's like, it's always gonna fail you. That's what I'm coming around to. You know, I can talk about it however you want. Whatever you're putting up there is gonna let you down. And unless God's, you know, the head honcho per se in your life, and that's what you're basing it all on, and you're trusting in Jesus and how good he is, and you're really relying on him, if you're trying to do anything but that, you know, you're gonna fail. And I failed myself doing that. You know, come wake up, as they so say, smell the coffee, whatever, and get your head out of your butt. Like, if you look at your life and you're saying Jesus isn't at the head of it, then you need to start making a change. And when I was coming to Christ and I was following Jesus and I was reading the Bible for the first time and I was looking at different things, trying to learn about God and whatever else, you know, I didn't have a super great understanding. I'm not going to pretend, you know, I magically learned all this overnight, you know, it took a lot of work for me to learn all this. I spent a lot of time watching videos, reading the Bible, studying stuff, listening to pastors, people a lot smarter than me talk, to learn about these things, because otherwise I wouldn't ever know. And I took a lot of effort, you know. And when I was coming to God, I always kept saying to myself, you know, if something doesn't change, nothing will change. You know, I have to change something to see a change. And I sought that in my life. And I remembered, I decided, all right, read the Bible every day. I'm going to pray every day, you know, when I wake up and when I go to bed. And I'm going to remember that I'm going to give my money to God. I'm going to do all these things, you know, that might seem, you know, foreign to you if you've never done this stuff. Might seem unusual, might seem hard, and it is hard. I'm not gonna be the one to tell you that when you first start doing some of these things to follow God, it's not a little bit challenging. It was for me, at least, and it was a change, and I got used to it. And the more that I started trying to glorify God in all my ways, every day, all the time, the easier it got, until I started just being in the routine. You know, now I'm living a godly life, a life that honors Jesus, that I'm doing His will in my life. And it's hard. I had to change things. And if you're going through your normal day and you're anything like me or whatever, and you're just being alive and you're not changing anything, why do you think you're going to see a change? You know, if it's like thinking you're going to have huge muscles, but you just do it by watching videos online or whatever, but never working out in the gym. It's like just expecting your arms to be super muscular but never benching or doing any of that. And that's what your life will be like in following God or putting other people at the first. If you don't ever put the effort in to really put God first, are you really going to do it? That was a little bit of a tangent maybe from the big video, but what I'm saying is if you're putting other people or other things that is not Jesus, you know, at the top of your list, you're gonna fail, and it's gonna bite you. The scariest thing that can happen in your life is sometimes when God gives you what you asked for, in a way. And I'm not gonna say you directly ask for it, but like He lets the actions of your own deeds like come to fruition. You know, maybe you're with a girl and she's a bad person and you're sleeping with her out of wedlock, or maybe she's just not a Christian and she's dragging you away from Christ because you're not equally yoked, but you don't want to give her up, and then so you refuse to give her up, and now suddenly God says, okay, well, if you want to choose her over your relationship with me, I'll let you. And so God, you go on to your relationship with her, but now you're straight away from God and you're out on your own. And the scariest thing is hell is literally separation from God. And that's what you can do to yourself, you know. And God says you know someone by their fruits. Well, look at your life. What do your fruits look like? You know, what are you doing? What is happening in your life? And I was able to look at mine and just see how messed up it was, see how wrong I was in all these different areas. And it's not too late to change. I mean, God doesn't say, oh, like if you messed up or whatever, you can't come back. He's the prodigal son, right? He messes up and his father's so excited when he finally comes back. Jesus is waiting on you, you know? He's out there, you know, waiting on you with his arms wide open, you know, come back to him. When I came to Jesus, man, I had to quit Zen, I had to quit drinking, I had to quit all these things. It was terrible for me trying to let go of all these idolistic things and addictions or whatever I was putting before God in my life. And it was horrible, you know. It was not fun, but you reap what you sow, right? And I utterly suffered for months, and it paid off. You know, my life got cleaned up. I'm living a moral life now. I'm doing better. I'm truly following Jesus like I probably never have before, and it's been great. I mean, I've never once regretted any of it. You know, I've never looked at my life and thought it was way better back then than it is now. You know, my life in every way now is so much better, and it's so much more awesome. I mean, look at me. I'm out here riding a motorcycle, having a great day. I had the opportunity to be here, which I maybe wouldn't have otherwise. I don't know. I'm just trusting God. Your level of peace in your life is undescribably different when God's at the top of the list for you. You know, if God's not at the top of your list, It's a scary, scary place to be, and I've been there a lot of times where I was living on my own accord, doing whatever I want to do, not listening and living the way God told me to, and so I suffered greatly for it, and it was terrible. I had a miserable time, and it wasn't good. But you know, surrender to God fully. God says, lay down your whole life in front of me, 100%, all your ways. He doesn't say just some of them, he says all of them, right? And that means you're actually supposed to, and so you should do it. You should, you know, just lay down, give up, just give it all to God. And I'm not saying that everything's going to change overnight, but I made another video about like the Zen and the nicotine. It was like, you know, I gave it to God, doesn't mean I quit immediately. I weaned off it, right? I took my time getting off of it. I struggled and I fought, and eventually I got off it and I stayed off of it. And you know, the Rome wasn't built overnight, I think is a saying, right? If I'm not wrong. And you know, your relationship with God is not either, and putting him first, not putting other people before him, other things. It's a relationship. They're built. But you know, so many people just put anything and everything in their life at the head, putting their hope in, putting all their time and effort to it, whether it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever else. And so often it's not God, and they're not keeping God at the top. And when God's not at the top, you know, you're gonna be in a very scary place very quickly. Ask me how I know. You know, I've done it. I've suffered the repercussions of it. I'm currently trying to find my way out and can't. But you know, God is good, and he's patient, and he's there. He's, you know, God is there with open arms waiting on you. Start making the change. You know, if you're struggling or whatever, even if you think you got it all together, look at your life, take an inventory real quick. I have to do that all the time. Take a quick inventory. Like, is there any areas I'm really slacking or failing at lately? And if there is, I need to clean them up. You know, I need to fix that part of my life up, and not just be like crapping in the can on some of it. I want to be all the way in, and that's how Jesus calls us to be. Alright guys, well, I might live in the woods now since I can't find my way out and it's gotten muddy. Yeah, alright, well, you know, that's pretty much it. Just put God first. You know, when you have God first in your life, everything else has a way of working itself out. And it might take a long time for that to happen. I'm not here to tell you that overnight the world will be the easiest place ever to live in when you finally decide to fully give it all to God. I mean, it might be super challenging for some time, and it might get hard. It might not get easier, and it takes a lot of time. I mean, I think about when I quit nicotine, right? I suffered for like months, and then after I quit, you know, the first 6 months was terrible, honestly. But now it's like years later, or however long later, the benefits have shown, and my life is just so much better. You know, the same can be for you. It's in whatever it is. I mean, I'm not talking about just nicotine or putting others first. It's that full surrender, or whatever it is, putting God first, so everything else can work itself out. Alright guys, well, riding the So line, and I'm currently on a little branch off area that I don't exactly know where it leads. The area said So line this way, so we'll see if I ever make it back. But any comments, questions, whatever, I'll make a video over whatever topic you want. I'll talk about it, I'll respond to your comment. I don't know, whatever you need, I'll gladly try to help you with. And so that's it for today's video. I have surprisingly made it back, and there's some other people that way out there, but yeah. So that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed the off-roading. I don't know what part of this is on. This is just southwest, I guess, of the Red Loop. So whatever that little knockoff was, I rode some of it, but I don't want to spend too much time in the woods. This bike gets hot quick. It's not a full dirt bike. It's 2021 KTM 690, super modified up. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that today and enjoyed the riding, and I didn't ramble and scatterbrain on 2 topics. I don't even know what my full topic was, but it was started, you know, not putting to. All right, I'm rambling. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Get out and ride and enjoy the beautiful world God made. Get off YouTube. See ya.